Major insurer gives brutal ultimatum to entire state. State Farm issued an ultimatum to California demanding to raise home insurance rates by 30% for homeowners, 36% for condo owners, 52% for renters, or it will exit the state. Let me say it one more time. State Farm is giving an ultimatum to Gavin Newsom, demanding to raise home insurance rates by 30%, condo, 36%, 52% for renters, or else they're leaving. You know how embarrassing that would be if they also leave the state of California? Insurance Commissioner Ricardo Lara acknowledged this has the potential to affect millions of California consumers and the integrity of our residential property insurance market. So they know they better do something. The move by State Farm follows a series of insurers, including Allstate, Farmers Direct, limiting or ceasing operations in California due to rising climate disaster risks. Laura promised an extensive review of State Farm's financial condition before making a decision. As wildfire season is underway, State Farm claims that without the rate hikes, further deterioration of surplus is anticipated, and emphasized rate changes are driven by increased costs and risks. Tom.
Well, I also read into this, so I dove into this a little bit. Do you know what on the last 5 years is the increased rebuild cost? 5 years going back, 2019, right before COVID, to right now. What is the total inflation rate on the labor, the subcontractors, and all, copper, lumber, drywall, all the things you would have to do if you're State Farm, because you're going to pay people to rebuild your house, half burned down, all burned down, rebuild. 31% increase in the rebuild cost. So the insurers are looking at it saying, wow, Vinny, I'm not trying to gouge you here. If your house burned down right now in California, it's costing me 31% more today than it did 5 years ago to rebuild that. And part of your insurance is going into a pool. Only some of the people have a house burned down, and out of that pool has to come the recovery or the rebuild cost. So there's also the rebuild cost, and then there's also, they're calling it climate change risk, but this was the state mismanaging its relationship with PG&E, because PG&E and these ancient transmission lines arced and caused the Northern California wildfires of the last 3 years. It's a fact. That's what caused these. It was mismanagement. They didn't get out and cut the timber and make what's called fire lines, where you can see, you fly in an airplane and you'll see the high tension wires or the power lines with like little valleys cut in the trees. They didn't do that. They didn't take care of their own forests. This is bad management by the state of California. They can blame it on climate disaster, but the reality is there were more wildfires, and PG&E was responsible for them, and they were let off the hook by the state of California. And all of it comes to State Farm saying, look, there's more risk of wildfires, and it's costing me a fortune for these things to be burned down. I can't afford to do business with you, Gavin.
Well, this is one of the many reasons. I'm going to go a couple different directions here, but I'll make a point. This is the reason that Gavin Newsom is not going to be the candidate that replaces Biden. By the way, I just sent you some updated stats. Officially, Kamala has, in Vegas's eyes, surpassed Biden as the potential candidate. I don't know if you can find that real quick. But if you actually look into here's some numbers for you. Donald Trump, you asked what the percentages was. 60% is the likelihood that now Donald Trump is going to be the president. Kamala is now 17%, and Biden is 11%. Michelle Obama is still hanging on at about 5%. Gavin is at 3%. So it's the Kamala show at this point. Like, this is the first time in 4 years that Kamala has surpassed Joe Biden as the most likely Democratic president. What's my point? It's not going to be Gavin, because basically all these stories that we talk about constantly about what the shit show is in California, once it hits the national electorate, they're like, yeah, we can't. Like, the numbers just don't support this guy. When DeSantis brought out a poop map to basically say, here's what's going on here, what do you think Donald Trump is going to bring out to basically displace Gavin Newsom? But when it comes to the home prices, when it comes to the fact that $23 billion, how much did they just misplace when they're fighting homelessness in California?
Billions.
All these insurers that are leaving California is because there's a 4-letter word that Gavin does not have on his side, and that's MATH, math. When you look at the math, the cost of living in California has skyrocketed. What you're getting, the bang for your buck of what you're getting in California has plummeted, and the numbers just don't support this whatsoever. So ultimately it's going to come down to supply and demand. And I'll make a little analogy here. I live an hour away in Miami. We all know this. Sometimes I'm like, oh shit, traffic is crazy. I got here in 25 minutes today. Why? Because it's July 4th. Nobody's on the roads. It was incredible. The price was half the price of what it typically costs to Uber here in the morning. The market right now is basically saying, dude, you can't live in California. It's too expensive. Insurance costs too much. The housing costs too much. The property tax is too much. Math is not on Gavin Newsom's side, or neither are the odds.
Can I ask one question though about the whole with Kamala and whoever, whatever? Even though with these type of odds and Trump is pretty clear the favorite, do you think that they're going to try anything crazy?
Yes.
Seriously.
I don't know what your question is.
Guys,
The
stay
answer
on
is
insurance,
yes.
guys. I'm not getting off insurance yet. I want to stay on this. So climate change-driven insurance crisis threatens new states. California's one, Florida's one, Louisiana's one. This is not something that only California is dealing with. Geico full-on left California. Geico shut down all of their offices and shut down California.
It was like 6 months
Rob,
ago.
can you Google insurers leaving California? Just type in insurers leaving California. Type that and let's see what comes up. 2 more insurers. How recent is that? That's April. Type in news.
First one right there. Right there. Click that down. What insurer companies are leaving California?
No. Go. Yeah. What insurers? Yeah. Zoom in. Tokyo and Trans. No, those aren't. And joins State Farm and Allstate in discontinuing coverage for California residents. Do you realize State Farm and Allstate, how big these guys are? So can you imagine you're now buying a house. You're like, I don't even know who to get my insurance from right now.
These are high-quality companies.
These are high-quality companies leaving. Now, Rob, type in, just to be fair to California, type in insurers leaving Florida. Insurers leaving Florida. Type in and let's see what comes up. Zoom in a little bit to see if that claims. Claims insurance comes up. Florida, 33% year over compared to 9%. Litigation. Florida's legal environment has made it easy for customers to sue their insurers. Florida is increasingly affected by costly and frequent natural disasters. Yes, the price of reinsurance is rising. Makes sense. Scams. Insurance companies are increasingly affected by scams. Totally get it. And then go, Florida insurance crisis worsens as farmer pulls out. Remember that? We talked about that on the podcast. I even made a specific video about it. Some insurance companies have left Florida. United Property, Casualty Insurance Company, and 5 other property and casualty companies since 2017. Other companies such as Nationwide, Progressive, Southern Fidelity, and Universal have also left or non-renewed policies in the state. Nationwide's big, Progressive's big. But if you think about it, Allstate hasn't left yet. And I don't think Farmers worsens as Farmers. State Farm hasn't pulled out yet. And these governors have to be very careful to realize you can make life hell for insurance companies, but insurance companies are for-profit companies. You're not paying them with taxpayer money. They have to find a way for it to make sense to them, for them to do business in your state. So it's going to be interesting to see both California and Florida, how they manage this. This could be very nasty. I am so curious to know how California responds to the demands given to them by, who's it?
30% more.
Yeah, I'm so curious to know how they respond.
That's a lot of money, though, isn't it, Pat? 30% more for your tax for your house,
but it's
for insurance.
It's not because they're going to profit 30% more.
The prices are going up.
It's just going up.
Yeah.
They're like, what do you want me to do about it? It's expensive, right? So, what increases it? Crime, weather, theft. These are basic things. I'm not going to insure cars in your community because everybody's stealing cars from your community, period. Like, what do insurance companies ask when you get auto insurance? How far do you live from your place, right?
How much do you drive?
Okay.
Do you have a garage?
Do you have a garage? Do you live in a gated community, right? How many miles are you going to put in this car? Why do they ask these questions?
So they want to know if your liability.
That's right. They're going to ask us. So what do you think if now go to a state? What's the crime of a state?
Yeah.
What's the homicide? What's the this? What's the accidents? What's the car theft? A basic question in a boardroom would be, why are we doing business in a state that crime is increasing the way it has the last 4 years? Why are we doing business in a state that homelessness is at the highest level? These are very good questions. The governor's job is to lower that, eliminate that, make it safer so insurance say, great. Or, hey, California, every couple of years, the other day we're driving on 405 freeway. You know what's the first thing Jennifer and I said? Were you with us? No, you were in the other car because there was 2 cars were driving. Jennifer's like, babe, I don't think I've seen this. You know how you go 405 freeway and you're going through the Getty Museum, parking to the left? Look, I can't remember the last time I saw it being this green.
Yeah.
Because normally it's black or brown because of the fires, right? And I said, well, babe, all this means is fire season's here. Because enjoy this, because it's probably not going to look like this for too long. They have to figure out a solution for these wildfires that happen. Because insurance companies are not going to insure. You look at these houses, they're right next to the green on the mountain. You're like, why would I insure that house?
I wouldn't.
Why would I insure that house if I'm the insurance company? So they're asking logical questions, not a greedy questions that they're asking. But we'll see. We'll see what's going to happen there. How would you like to meet Dwayne Johnson, take a picture with him, and be celebrated in front of nearly 10,000 people at Palm Beach Convention Center? Let me tell you how. Years ago, when I was a financial advisor, insurance agent, and nobody knew who I was, small time, I'm trying to make it happen. I'm trying to get to clients, but no one's answering my calls because back then there was no Instagram, email, none of this stuff. I went to the store called DSW, and I would buy shoes, cheap shoes, but I would buy shoes. And I would take one of the shoes out of the box, and I would put the other shoe in a box with a note in it. This was a way of being funny. And in the box, I would say, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Jones, now that I got one foot in the door, help me get the next one in. I'm a local financial advisor, et cetera, et cetera. And oh my God, I would send 100. I would get 50 calls back. They would laugh. This is so funny. No one's ever sent us a shoe. We wouldn't mind getting the other one. 20% of them would say, this is so funny that we're willing to listen to you. And I'd go to their house and I would do business with them. Now think about today. This story I'm telling you, this is 2001, 2002. Today, if you want to prospect somebody or meet somebody doing business, you know you're one contact away from your life changing. That's what happened to me many, many times in my life. Today, you can send a cold email, less than 1% chance somebody responds to you. You can DM somebody, less than 3%. Twitter is less than 5%. LinkedIn is less than 8%. However, this is why we built the app Minnect. And I'm about to announce the next contest to you. On Minnect app, you download the app, you send a message, but you pay for the other person to get back to you in a text, in a video, or 15-minute FaceTime call. 94% chance they respond to you on the app. That's Minnect numbers. Changing people's life, creating ways for people. There's one guy that's buying buildings that were former strip clubs and turn them into rehabilitation centers. There's a guy that's raising millions of dollars just through Minnect. There's a guy that's sitting there talking to others about business ideas, HR question, marriage question, relationship questions. But here's the latest contest with Minnect. If you haven't downloaded it yet, the last contest we announced, we had a massive party, dinner. We came down here, had cigar, did a podcast together pretty much for 6 hours. We were together. This next one here, we have a new contest announced from July 1st, and it goes to the end of the month in the month of August. Here's how it works. The winner, the top winners of the different categories, there's 5 categories. You get on the stage at the Vol Conference. You got to buy the ticket yourself. On stage in front of 5,000 people. The winners get a championship belt. The winners go to the back and get a chance to meet Dwayne Johnson and take a picture with him. The winners get invited to a private CEO lounge at the conference. They're invited to my suite, and a sprinter will come and pick you up. You come back to my suite. We'll have a nice hour and a half conversation to get a strategy session together. And then obviously while you're at the Vol Conference, you'll be with everybody else. The last one was such a big hit, but here's how the contest works. Lightweight category, you have 5 categories that you're not performing in. Total completed Minnects, total unique Minnects, total reviews, unique reviews, and money earned. The one on the left shows how many you've done. The one on the right shows where you rank in it. Lightweight is people who have never used Minnect before as an expert. Right now, first place will be Stephen Hamill, then Carolyn Ariano, and that's for lightweight. Go to middleweight, Rob. Middleweight is people that are experts who have done 1 of 50 Minnects. These guys are all competing against each other. You got Candace Owens at the top, who has done the most, Rob, if you can go a little higher, who has done the most Minnects, done the most unique Minnects, reviews, total reviews, dollars earned. And you notice she's number 1 ranked on the right, except second place in dollar. Then it's Aaron Borgman, Robert, Samuel. You'll see the names. Go lower. Then you have the heavyweight, people that have done 51 plus Minnects. Dennis Paneva's next. First, then it's Calvin, then it's Dustin, then it's Chris Cuomo. Go lower, then we have the home team, which is Vinny at the top, then it's myself, then Tom. Then users, people that are asking questions. You download the Minnect, you've never done it before, you simply ask people questions. Total Minnects, total unique experts you ask questions of, total dollar spent, total reviews, Minnects made public, whoever does the most, they win. And at this point right now, it's Armstead King, then it's Clinton Breve, then it's Chandler C. And if you go below, then you have the existing users who have done Minnects before. At the top is Jeanette Garibian today, then it's Kyle Starr, and the list goes on. Anyways, if you want to be in the right environment and use the app to Minnect and connect with others, Minnect is slowly becoming the #1 app on social media for networking, where people actually get back to you. So if you want to compete in the next contest, download the app, start Minnecting today, and go on Minnect.com. Look at the Leaders Bulletin to see where you rank because it updates on a daily basis. Looking forward to seeing you compete for this next Minnect contest.
So if you like this clip and you want to watch another one, click right here. And if you want to watch the entire podcast, click right here.